what's going on? What the? Hey.
I remember there was a time when we was kings and queens, prophets and rulers, judging the earth. But now we stuck at the bottom of the totem pole. Where did we go wrong as a people? I think our people need to understand this with a wake-up call and give them understanding on what's going on. So bring it.
Early morning, rise up, open your eyes up, looking in the mirror, it gets no clearer. Cause we don't understand our own selves, drowning in sorrow with empty Hennessy bottles upon the shelf. Cause everybody wanna be a king, selling out their soul for this mean green cream thing. Paper chasing, but not facing the facts that as a nation, we all done got lax and letting the devil control us. And thinking like them damn Africans, they sold us. We in captivity because they hold us. Work is hard with heavy burdens on our shoulders. Man, I thought we were some soldiers, but every second that I look, we getting creamed like Folgers.
Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shalom.
Shalom to everybody online.
Shalom, shalom.
Welcome to the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. I'm Priest Quatazab. To my left, we got Priest Lakarav. We're located at 8524 South Braesville Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. Our class times are Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 10 p.m., Friday from 6 to 9 p.m., Saturday 10 to 2 p.m., and we have our kids class from 11 to 12 p.m. on Sunday. We also have class out in Trinidad every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, okay? And that's from 7 to 10 p.m. also. We have Saturday class also out there, okay? If you're in the San Antonio area, we have a school at 4219 Centergate Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78217, okay? We also have a school in Albuquerque, New Mexico at 501 Copper Ave, Northwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87102, all right? We also have classes out in Austin, Texas. Those times are TBA, to be announced. We also have a Blog Talk Radio, okay? And you catch those classes every Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. All you do, you go online, you type in blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba, M-A-S-H-A-H-B-A, and you'll be able to tune into those. They're podcasts, so you can actually download them to your, your podcast player. Every time they upload, they'll download right to your phone if you want to set it up like that. If you have any questions, you can contact me, text only during class, 303-557-8979. You can contact Priest Kazakia at 281-707-2737. You can also contact Priest Ahawam at 832-941-2443. All right? Just keep in mind, Priest Ahawam is still in Trinidad. So if you don't get him by this number, or if you're hitting him up and you're not getting to him, you can definitely hit me up or Priest Kazakia, okay? And then we have Priest Kazakia and some other brothers. They're out in Arizona currently at the Arizona State Fair until October 29th, all right? So they're out there selling aromatherapeutic and body oils, all right? So natural soaps, body butters, candles. So if you're in that area, if you know some folks in that area that want to smell good, send them to the Arizona State Fair. We get them laced up. All right? We also have our Penny Wars contests that we use to help fund things for the schools. We got Passover coming up, so this is going to help fund things for the Passover, all right? As well as our business. Excuse me. For our live classes, you can check us out at ISBHBK on YouTube. All right? Then we also have our ISBHBK cable show. That's every Saturday at 8:30 to 9:30 on our Comcast local channel 17, or you can stream it live on hmstv.org. All right? Let's see here. For any other questions or concerns, you can email us at isbhpk@gmail.com. Okay? For a custom made or any type of garment, you go on Facebook, you type in Israel Wear, and you can get details on how you can get any custom made garments, any Passover garments, any unity garments, okay? the sisters, they do unity garments all year round. So you can contact them about that. They're also collecting Passover garment money. They do that monthly. So if you want a Passover garment, get with them on that. Or if you just want something custom made outside the box, you can hit them up and they'll give you the details on that. Go to Facebook under Israel Wear. Okay? I think Abiyar is sitting there. I think, yeah. You could move that. You could, yeah. Okay. For any donations, any form of contribution is welcome and needed. We do want to start the broadcast live in Trinidad, so we need a high-powered computer that's going to be able to do that. They got a lot of processing power. Okay, but anything that you can give, any books, pens, papers. The brother on Saturday brought some books in, some Zondervans. We be getting a lot of apocryphers and Bibles and dictionaries to send down to the brothers and sisters in Trinidad. So that helps out. But anything you can give, we distribute it throughout the community. So yeah, whatever you can give is welcome. It's needed for everybody that's been giving. The water, we appreciate it. Whatever's in your heart. For any monetary donations, we have a Wells Fargo account. That number is 101-580-6167. All right, so you can deposit money there if you need to, or you can Google Wallet us at isbhpk@gmail.com. Okay, so just some options on if you want to send any monetary donations, how to do that. All right, so what we'll do before we let the brother go into his class, if y'all got any questions, feel free to send your questions, okay? Thank you for that, for my husband looking for a scarf. What do you mean by Wendy Armstrong? Thank you for that info. My husband is looking for a praying scarf. Did he want like a scarf made, or what do you mean a praying scarf? I mean, if it's something to do with a garment, yeah, just go on Facebook, and the sisters, you just send them a message, they'll get right back to you and let you know how they can get everything done for you. So, yeah, just hit them up. Israel Wear through Facebook. All right, so, yeah, if you got any questions, go ahead and shoot them. We'll give everybody a second to log in. If not, then we'll go into this brother's class. But in the meantime, anybody got questions in class? Oh, okay. Well, was that a job for the women? Yeah, we'll wait for everybody to get online and put their questions out. Anybody got anything? In La Clasa? Put my Spanish words out there. They're not real Spanish. So. How y'all been feeling? Shalom to y'all online. Shalom. Shalom. All right? I mean, if we ain't got nothing, we can go into it. We can start into the class, and then we'll just take questions as they go. So yeah, let's make it happen.
Nice.
Let's do it.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
This is a continuation for the last class that we did, which was, are you untouchable? So since you know that you're an Israelite, does that make you untouchable? Does that mean that you just act how you want to act because you feel like the Most High has your back? He said a hedge about you? Or what is it that makes you untouchable? What is it that makes the scripture, no weapon formed against you shall prosper? What is it that makes that scripture, I guess, valid, you can say? And what is it is the wisdom. What we were going over the first class is that the wisdom of the Most High That's what makes that scripture valid, because it's you applying the wisdom, it's you applying the knowledge of the Bible and how to get it and to use it to get out of certain situations. That's what makes that scripture applicable. It's the way you change your characteristics, your thought process, your attitude. That's what makes that scripture applicable. So,
real quick, before you go in there, get Jeremiah real quick. My question is all the Israelites dark? My question is all the Israelite dark nations, where would I find that scripture? Are you saying, are all the Israelites dark? No. Jeremiah 14:2. Give you two quick ones real quick. This is very easy. Yeah, all the Israelites, all the Israelites are not all one tone. They're not all one skin color. So yeah, we want that too. So where you at? Get that first one.
this is Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2.
Go ahead.
And it's Judah mourneth.
Right. So the Jews, right? The true worshipers, they're in mourning. Right. We're the ones in the ghettos and the slums. Right. Those fake Jews over there in Israel, those fake Jews that are here, they're not in mourning. They're not in mourning because guess what? They own everything. Right? They own all your businesses. They own all the movie industry. They own every industry. So they can't be in mourning. They got the big house with the van, the car, the 5.6 kids and the dog. They got all that. They get to take walks with their family through wherever the hell they live. They got their own community. You got, like I was watching this documentary on them. They got their own law system. They got their own ambulances. They got everything. You can't be in mourning when you got damn near all of the American government in your pocket. So you got to look and see. Judah mourneth. Judah was just short for showing you the 12 tribes. Judah was the head tribe, but a lot of times in the scripture when it talks about Judah, it's referring to all of Israel. Judah mourneth. Go ahead.
And the gates thereof languish.
Give me Lamentations. The gates. Get Lamentations 5. The gates is talking about our leadership. Lamentations 5 and 14.
Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 14.
Go ahead.
The elders have ceased from the gate.
Yeah, see, the elders represented our gate. Your gate was your first line of defense from any problems. There's somebody in there. Your gate was your first line of defense. Any city you went to back in these times had a gate round about the city to do what? To protect it. So it says the gates thereof languish. When something is languishing, it loses its strength. It's no longer able to do what it was created to do. So it says the gates thereof languish. The elders have ceased from the gate. Go ahead.
The young men from their music.
Right, because there's no joy in the city. Jump back. Jump back to Jeremiah 14:2.
They are black unto the ground.
So it says Judah mourneth. The Jews, speaking of the so-called Negro, all the way down to the so-called Mexican, they're in mourning. Right? It says the gates thereof languish. We have no leadership. The so-called black man ain't got no leader. His leader is LeBron James. His leader is Kevin Durant, Steph Curry.
And if they give him a leader, the leader's weak.
Jesse Jackson, right?
Yeah, they set leaders up according to their will, according to their benefit. And the leaders don't have nothing to do. Our leadership doesn't have anything to do with our benefit or for the Most High. All our leadership is set up by them, and all they do is keep us down.
Right, like y'all were all hooping and hollering because we got a black president, and all that black president did was make it legal for you to bang another guy, for a man to have sex with another man. He didn't give you nothing but homosexuality
And
bestiality. So it says the gates thereof languish. Go ahead.
They are black unto the ground.
See, and this is the point to the question. They are black unto the ground. Now, this is the thing. You got to ask yourself, what's black in the ground? Nothing. The ground is different shades of brown. When you dig it up, from the topsoil to the sand to the clay, all these different types of dirt, they're all different shades of brown. So it said they are black unto the ground. Black unto the ground. The ground is not black. The ground itself, the natural earth isn't black. It's different shades of brown. Jump to Jeremiah. What was that? 9?
It's 12 and 9.
Yeah, Jeremiah 12 and 9.
Y'all got it?
Come. Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9.
Go ahead.
My heritage is unto me.
Right, so the Most High said that his heritage, we are the Most High's heritage, the nation of Israel. He said, my heritage is unto me. Go ahead.
As a speckled bird.
Right, as a speckled bird. When something is speckled, it's different colors. But see, a speckled bird is different shades of, it's speckled different spots of brown. When you look up a speckled bird, right? It got different shades of brown in there. So just showing you that, no, we weren't all one color. We weren't all burnt in the furnace, right?
Yeah.
Even Solomon, he said, I'm black, but I'm beautiful. Like the tents of Kedar. When you look at the tents of Kedar, listen, they were dark like this. Let me get that. They were dark. The tents of Kedar was like a real dark, when you look at it, it's just a real dark brown. But everybody wasn't that color. You know how we know? Because even when we got here in slavery, and we went over this on Friday, when you read that Willie Lynch letter, what did he say? He said he put the Negroes against one another according to what? Their different skin tones. Some were light, some were dark. So don't fall into the myth, or don't fall into that whack doctrine that they have online, that if you're not as black as this right here, then you don't belong on the chart, or you're not an Israelite. Everybody wasn't as black as this eyeglass holder, or as black as this microphone. Everybody wasn't that dark. Some of us were a little bit lighter. So just a few scriptures, but it's showing you here that the Most High said it. His heritage, which is us, is like a speckled bird. So just a few scriptures on that. Let me see. I'm putting fringes on my clothes, but I can afford to make around 4 shirts, including my children's clothes. Is it wrong for me to wear the clothes that I have that have no fringes? No, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. You got to do what's in your power. It's not wrong. This is the thing. You just got to know that if you do have the means to do it, then do it. Every single thing that I wear doesn't have fringes on it. Every single article of clothing that I wear doesn't have fringes. You got to understand that the law. Go to Romans real quick. Hopefully, I answered that question on the skin tone. Let me know if you need some more on that. But go to Romans real quick. Go to Romans. So the question is basically, do I need to have fringes on every garment that I own? No, you don't. Yeah. Yep. Romans 7 verse 14.
Romans chapter 7, verse 14.
Go ahead.
For we know that the law is spiritual.
Wait, the law is carnal?
The law is spiritual.
The law is spiritual. Go ahead.
But I am carnal.
You see that? But we are carnal. So, and the reason why I pull this is to show you that we don't even understand the law to its full potential. See, we think it's about having to have the longest fringes down to our ankles, and your beard got to be like an afro on your face. No. The fringes, and somebody give me that in our numbers, the fringes was to remind us of something. It was to remind us to keep the law. It was to remind us to keep the law. Okay? See, for the carnal man that has to be reminded every 5 seconds, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, don't covet your neighbor's house, don't look at another man's wife. It was there for that man. Okay. But see, I don't need to have fringes on to keep in remembrance to love my neighbor as myself. You see, there has to come a point where you don't have to be reminded of certain things. The law should now become a part of you. Yeah. Go there real quick. Go to Numbers.
Numbers chapter 15 and verse 38.
38, yeah, 15:38.
Numbers chapter 15, verse 38. Speak unto the children of Israel.
Right.
And bid them that they make fringes in the border of their garment.
Right. Go ahead.
Throughout their generations.
Right. So yes, we know we're supposed to wear the fringes throughout our generations. But see, not everybody, especially if you're just learning, if you're just learning about everything, we don't expect you to have your every single garment you own fringed out. But after a while, yes, you're going to start assimilating more with your culture and saying, okay, let me get some fringes on this. Things cost money. We get it. Let me get some fringes on this. When brothers come in, they don't walk in with like a full garment, armbands, headbands, fringe shirt, tunic. You got to work your way into that, right? Because for one, things, I'm going to say it again, we know that things cost money. It ain't like you just walk up to a store and be like, let me get that and walk out. You got to pay for it. But if you ain't got the means, then you just don't have the means. But read on.
And that they put upon the fringe of the border of their garment, Salah. And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
Right, go ahead.
And it shall be unto you for a fringe.
Go ahead.
That ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord.
See, this is the thing. I don't have to look at my fringes and remember the commandments. They're in my head. I don't have to look down and be like, oh man, I got to keep the law today. See, a lot of cats is running around with fringes just to say, oh, I'm an Israelite, because they think that it's about fringes. You run around with the fringes and the pomegranates and the bells and the whistles, right? But guess what? You prideful as hell. You covetous. You got murder in your heart.
What's the point?
What's the point of the fringes? There isn't none. That's why I first took you to Romans, to show you the law is spiritual, but I am carnal. So, again, some people have the means to go and get their whole wardrobe fringed out. My whole wardrobe ain't even fringed out. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody got it like that. If you got it like that, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. But remember one thing. There's no point in rocking a bunch of fringes and having, like I said, having the afro on your face, right? And sisters with the most longest skirt and the longest, most flowy hair and the best head wrap, if you're a demon. If you don't know how to love your neighbor as yourself. If you can't grasp small concepts, it makes no sense. So just keep that in mind, that it's not about the fringes, it's about your intent. All right? Hopefully you got that. Let's see here. Is the Most High going to accept half-breed people? Well, there is no such thing as a half-breed. Give me that. Numbers 1 and verse 18, right? 2 and 18? 1 and 18? Yeah. Numbers 1 and 18. So the question is, does the Most High accept half-breed people? You got to remember, we're not dogs, and we're not mutts. There is no such thing as a half-breed. And I'll show you why I say that. Because your heritage, your lineage, according to the Bible, goes according to what your father is. The reason for this is because he carries the seed. You can never change the seed. No matter where you plant the seed, it never changes. You can take an American apple seed, and go plant it in an African banana grove. It's going to grow an apple. Okay? It doesn't matter. Read where you at.
Numbers 1 verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
Right, so all the congregation of Israel was together. Go ahead.
And they declared their pedigrees after...
A pedigree. Somebody look that up for me. Pedigree. You can look it up. Oh, whoa. My foot hit the... My fault. My foot hit the thing that makes the chair go down. Ankle is trapped. Somebody look up the word pedigree. See, we know when it talks, a lot of times you hear the word pedigree when it comes to talking about dogs, right? How pure is their pedigree, their bloodline? Dabashai, what you got?
It says the recorded ancestry, especially under class ancestry or a person, or it says of a person or family.
Okay. So let's see here. Let me see if I got something in here.
I got something too.
What you got?
It says lineage.
Your lineage, right? What else?
Line of ancestors from which a person or tribe descends.
Right. So a line of ancestors. So basically, It's telling you here. Read it again.
And they declared their pedigrees.
So they declared their lineage or their ancestry. Go ahead.
After their families.
Right.
By the house of their fathers.
By the house of what?
Their fathers.
Wait, but we're all mutts?
Fathers.
You see that? By the house of your fathers. So just remember, yeah, we're not mixed breeds. Your nationality is determined by your father, because in that way, there could never be any confusion. Because guess what? You are what your father is. He is what his father was. He is what his father was, and so forth and so on. That can never, ever change. That can never change. That was always a direct thing. What's up, Anaya? Well, what it means is, it goes back to show that we well, say it again, that we're all black. Well, what do you mean by that? Be more specific.
Like, wasn't Jacob black?
Yeah, he was brown. He would be considered, yeah, so-called, well, he was a Hebrew, right? There was no tribes at that time with Jacob. He was the forefather of the tribes. So, but yeah, he would be a dark-skinned man, right? Does that answer your question? Or you got anything else?
We're all Hebrews.
Yeah, we're all Hebrews. So, yeah, there was no, you got to remember, he was the forefather of the 12, Jacob. So, yeah, but he was a dark-skinned man. Just like Adam. Right? Just like everybody after Adam until the great Esau, right? Esau the great, no, he's not. The infamous. Okay, so you're saying that, what about Ezra 9? What about it? What's your question? What's your question? Ezra 9, Ezra 9, let's see, wow, you sound just like Knight Brooks, who am I? Is that a question or what is, you said, who am I? Are you asking a question? Who am I? Yeah, you gotta like reformulate that so I can understand. I don't know if you're asking a question or making a statement. Back to Wendy. Okay, so you're saying that, what about Ezra 9? Okay, so in Ezra 9, that was when the Most High commanded all the priests to put away their children, right?
Got it.
Right. That doesn't change the fact that the kids were Israelites. They were just wicked as hell, the priests. And he wanted to get all that wickedness away. So he said, put away the children, because they're off, and the women. That's all that really was. It wasn't denouncing that the kids weren't Israelites. We got to read it into its context. I mean, we can go there. Let's see. We can go there real quick. Shalom, Yahweh Shemar Athal, Yahweh Shemar Shai. Shalom, sis, Yahweh Shemar Athal, Yahweh Shemar Shai. Let's go there real quick. Where we at?
It's Ezra chapter 9 and verse.
Where we starting at?
Verse 6.
Let me
Where we
get
started?
there. Ezra chapter 9. Wait, hold on, let's see here. We're going to read Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. Just to get some context. Go ahead.
Ezra chapter 9, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now when these things were done,
the
princes came to me saying,
right,
the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites.
Right, so the people, the priests, the Levites, right? These were supposed to be the law carriers, the law doers. They were supposed to sacrifice for sin. These were supposed to be pure men. Levites couldn't do what? They couldn't marry a woman that wasn't a virgin, right? They couldn't even sweat the damn temple, right? They could have no sin about them, else what? When they walked in there to do their job, if there was iniquity found in them, they would die on the spot. So they were supposed to be the purest thing between us and the Most High. Y'all get that? because they were sacrificing for our sins. Go ahead.
Have not separated themselves from the people of the land.
Right, because they didn't separate themselves from the people, but guess what? It wasn't about the people. This is what it was about. Go ahead.
Doing according to their abominations.
They did what?
According to their abominations.
You see that they were doing the abominations of the people. That's why when you go back into the law, what did Most High say? He didn't want us to join, or even if you're in Deuteronomy, he didn't want us to join with the Canaanites. He said go through and wipe them all out. Why? Don't take their daughters in marriage and don't give their sons. Why? Because he didn't want us to follow after their gods and do their abominations. So he said wipe them out from the damn least man to the greatest man, to the least animal to the greatest animal. Don't take their animals. Don't take no spoil. Wipe it out. Burn it down. I don't want nothing left over because then you're going to wonder about it. See, and this was the problem here. Read on.
Even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the
even of who?
The Canaanites.
So we were joined to who?
Canaanites.
Go ahead.
The Hittites.
Go ahead.
The Perizzites. The Jebusites.
Right.
The Ammonites.
Right.
The Moabites.
Right.
The Egyptians.
Right.
And the Amorites.
See, we were joined to all these wicked nations and taking wives and then having babies, right? Go ahead. What you got?
It's like what it says, have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations. It's like in Revelations where it says to come out of her, my people. It's not literally saying to come out, but it's saying to quit doing what you're doing, quit being joined to them in their wickedness, in their abominations, the acts that they're committing with them. So that's pretty much what it's saying right here as well too.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I had on too.
Go ahead.
Verse 2. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves.
Because the holy seed did what?
Mingled themselves.
Go ahead.
With the people of those lands.
Right. So the holy seed got mingled. That don't mean it changed the seed. What happened now, I mean, we can take this right back to Genesis chapter 6, where it said the sons of men came onto the sons of God came onto the daughters of men. So the sons of the righteous, the ones that had the law, start dealing with the people that didn't have the law. You got to remember, who was the law given to? Israel. Psalms 147, verse 19 and verse 20. Right? He said, I showeth the word unto Jacob, my laws and statutes unto Israel. I have not dealt so with any other nation. So these nations didn't have the law of the Most High. So what were they doing? They were doing everything defiled, everything to the contrary. That's why he said the seed has mingled, right? But it was just not just that they slept with these women. They were carrying on and serving their gods. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 30 real quick. Hold where you at. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 30. This was the problem that the Most High was trying to avoid. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 30.
If I'm going too fast, let me know. I'm hyped. Go ahead.
Take heed to yourselves that thou be not snared by following them.
Read verse 29.
Verse 29.
Uh-huh.
When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee.
See, the nations were supposed to be cut off by our hand, but guess what? We were a loving, caring people. When we ran up on the Canaanites, we took pity on them, right? We were supposed to wipe them out, but we didn't do it. See, the nations were supposed to be cut off. Go ahead.
Whither thou go to possess.
So we were supposed to possess the land. Go ahead.
And thou succeedest them. And dwell in their land. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them.
By not what?
By following them.
Go ahead.
After that they be destroyed from before thee.
He was saying, look, after you destroy these nations, don't try to follow after the things they've already did that got them destroyed. Go ahead.
And that thou inquire not after their gods.
And what was say it again?
And that thou inquire not after their gods.
So the men in Ezra did what?
Inquired not after their gods.
They inquired after their gods. Go ahead.
Saying, how did these nations serve their gods?
Yeah, because that was none of our damn business. That's where, when you read about Solomon, in his old age, what happened? He started building temples and worshiping the gods of the Moabites. Right? He started building temples to Moab and to their God. And I mean, he had many a wives, but in his old age, that wisdom wasn't as strong. And he started getting seduced. Right? Read on.
Even so, I will do likewise.
Right?
Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God.
Right, you're not supposed to chase anything else other than the Most High. Go ahead.
For every abomination to the Lord, which he hated, have they done unto their God.
You see that? Because these other nations, they did abominable things unto their gods. They worship the God of the opening. Any opening. The butt opening. Right? They worship things like the butthole and anal sex and all these different things. Go ahead.
For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods.
Yeah, you see that? When you go into like, when you deal with like the Yuletide log. The Yule log for like your Christmas that a lot of people celebrate, that Yule log used to be a child. But then they were like, well, we can't just keep burning our kids up, so let's like throw some wood in there. But that was a child they would offer up in that Yule log.
Wow.
Yeah. Throwing their kids on the golden calf, right? They were offering their kids. They were sacrificing their children. Go ahead.
What thing soever I command you, observe to do it.
Which we didn't do. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it.
Right. Now jump back to Ezra. Jump back to Ezra.
Ezra chapter 9, verse 2.
Go ahead.
For they have taken of their daughters for themselves.
Right. So we took the daughters of these nations for ourselves. Go ahead.
And for their sons.
Go ahead.
So that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands.
Right. Go ahead.
Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers has been chief in this trespass.
Go ahead. Now we can jump down to read on.
Then were assembled unto me every one that trembled at the words of God, of the God of Israel, because of the transgressions of those that had been carried away.
Go ahead.
And I sat astonished until the evening sacrifice. And at the evening sacrifice, I arose from my heaviness, and having rent my garment and my mantle, I fell upon my knees and spread out my hands unto the Lord my God.
Go ahead.
And said, Oh my God.
Where you at?
Verse 6.
Go ahead.
And said, Oh my God, I am ashamed and
blush
to lift my face to thee.
Right.
My God, for our iniquities are increased over our head, and our trespass is gone up into the heavens.
Right, because they were following these other nations. You see that? Let's see here. I'm trying to just get to the point. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the man. Hold on. Go to read verse 11. Verse 10.
Verse 10. And now, O our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken thy commandments.
Right, because it wasn't the fact that they joined with this people, it was the fact that they joined with this people and followed them, and not the commandment. Go ahead.
Which thou hast commanded by thy servants, the prophets, saying, The land unto which ye go to possess it is an unclean land, with the filthiness of the people of the lands.
Slow down.
Slow. With the filthiness of the people of the lands.
Go ahead.
With their abominations.
With their what?
With their abominations.
Read on.
Which have filled it from one end to the other with their uncleanness.
Right. See, if these Levi priests, if they were on point, they would have got the land in check by checking the people. But they didn't. That's the thing. When you go back into Deuteronomy and it talks about when the strangers dwelt among us, what do they have to do? They have to fall under the law. If a stranger sojourned with you and it was Sabbath time, it was the Sabbath day, guess what he had to do? Keep the Sabbath. Get circumcised. Keep the Passover. They have to fall to our law. Y'all get that? So the problem is we didn't have a backbone and we fell to these women and start falling into their filthiness. The land wasn't filthy, the people were and made the land filthy. The scriptures say the land is defiled by the inhabitants thereof. Right? Read on.
Verse 12. Now therefore give not your daughters unto their sons.
Right, go ahead.
Neither take their daughters unto your sons.
Right, this is how we're gonna clean it. This is how we're gonna clean everybody up. Because everything is dirty from the rooter to the tutor, right? Read on.
Nor seek their peace or their wealth forever, that ye may be strong and eat the good of the land.
Go ahead.
And leave it for an inheritance to your children forever.
Go ahead.
And after all this came to pass, and after all this came upon us, for our evil deeds and for our great trespass, seeing that thou, our God, hast punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and has given us such deliverance as this. Should we again break thy commandments and join in affinity?
Yeah. Should we again break thy commandments and join in affinity with the people of those abominations? Affinity.
Affinity.
Let's look it up. What's up, man? Where you at? Where you at? Yeah.
That's exactly what he asked.
Yeah. That's why I went there.
Yeah, that's like perfect.
Yeah, that's why I went there. That's exactly what I went there, my little mate. But see, that's what I'm saying. You gotta make sure that. That's right. What you got? What's up, Benaiah? Bring it out!
A spontaneous or natural liking or sympathy for someone or something.
Right, so a spontaneous or natural liking, right, for someone or something. So, where we at? Should we again break thy commandments? Well, we went up. We were so wicked that we followed after their abomination. Oh, is it?
Just wouldn't connect for some reason.
Okay. Yeah, we went after their abomination. Oh, Ezra 9 and verse 12. Not everyone. Yeah. And that was the point. See, the thing was, we already had given and deal with our women first. And then, way in the future, when kingdom comes, when the kingdom is here, then everything else, everything else can happen. I'm not going to really go all into that. But yeah, we're not supposed to be dealing with the women of the other nations like that. All right. Let's see here. There was one more before I get into the other one. Is celebrating marriage anniversary pagan or against the Most High? Well, this is the thing. Are you celebrating I'm gonna say this. There's no account that I've read of someone celebrating a marriage anniversary. Yeah. We did have marriage ceremonies, and I mean, you could go online and some brothers. I seen a school do it. They did a marriage ceremony the other day. The head priest, he conducted the ceremony. I mean, obviously, they were probably already married before the ceremony happened, but we had our marriage ceremonies, but there's no account of us yearly celebrating. Do we acknowledge anniversaries? Sure we did. And we've been married 5 years. Congrats to us. We made it another year. Congrats to us, right? But as far as like having some deep celebration, I haven't read anything that said that we kept up with anniversaries as far as like birthdays or anniversaries. Okay? So I don't want to say we didn't do it. I want to say we did do it. There's nothing I've read to say that we've done it. But if I come across something, I will definitely put it out there. Let's see here. Hopefully I got that so far. Is there a small remnant of the northern kingdom in Syria today? Go to Isaiah.
So, Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 1.
No, you can jump all the way down.
I'm sorry. Isaiah chapter 11 and 11.
Yep. You go all the way to 11 and 11.
Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 11.
Read that.
And it shall come to pass in that day.
Right, so this is the future prophecy. Go ahead.
That the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
Right, so the Most High is going to recover all the remnant of the people, right, in our salvation. Go ahead.
Which shall be left from Assyria.
They shall be left from where?
Assyria.
So, go ahead.
And from Egypt.
So we know our people are going to be in Assyria. There's going to be Israelites in Egypt. Go ahead.
And from Pathros.
Pathros. Who got that?
Pathros is Upper Egypt.
Upper Egypt, right? So Upper Egypt would be like, that would be, I believe that would be what was considered like Goshen. Or Upper Egypt. Go ahead.
And from Cush.
And from what?
Cush.
So we know Cush is Ethiopia. Go ahead.
And from Elam.
And from Elam, which is what? India. Go ahead.
And from Sinar.
Sinar, who got that?
I think Sinar was Babylon.
Oh, look here. I'm going to homeschool my son. Question. Mesopotamia?
Yes, Shinar is the term used in the Bible for a general region of Mesopotamia.
Right, so that little Iraq area, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, kind of. Iran, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And from Hamath.
And from where?
Hamath.
Okay, so Hamath.
Located in Upper Syria.
Tell them where you're reading from.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Zondervan Bible Pictorial Dictionary, page 331.
Right.
It says.
So this is the Zondervan, right? So we use this to look up different lands, words. So Hamath. Oh, hand cramp. Go ahead.
And from the islands of the sea.
No.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hamath is located in Upper Syria.
Is where?
In Upper Syria.
Right. So Israelites, yes, we do have Israelites of all nations. It doesn't distinguish the two, but we do have Israelites that are going to be taken when the Most High, when Christ comes that second time to gather the people from Syria. So yes, there are Israelites in Syria. Go ahead.
And from the islands of the sea.
Right. So you got to remember, I was having this conversation with somebody today, man. Listen, the black, Hispanic man, they're everywhere. They're in all four corners. We were scattered throughout the four corners. So we're everywhere because think about it. People, remember, you are who your dad is. You got a lot of people that go to these other countries, sleep with these women, do their thing, and then what happens? People just, in this day and age, people just don't sit in one land. People move around. They migrate to different countries. I talk to a lot of people that think that they're one thing, and then when you trace them back, like a lot of these Jews, right? These Jewish people, you ask them, where are your great-great-grandparents from? They'll tell you, oh, from Iran, from Iraq, Afghanistan. I'm like, oh, okay. You're not Jewish, right? Europe, Poland. You ask them, they'll tell you because people migrate around. So we can't be naive to think that that when the Most High scattered us to the four corners, that it wasn't throughout the lands. Edith.
Yes, and I was going to say, even with like the Northern Kingdom,
Spaniards came over here, they took some of the slaves to Spain.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to remember that slavery to the Americas and the Caribbean, that was last. There was already slavery happening going back to Britain from Africa, going back into India. Listen, I was online. You got brothers out in India right now dealing with some Judite brothers that know they're Israel. They don't even look like Elam. They look like Judah. And they know, and they're treated like Judah out there. They're treated like arm's distance. Y'all are niggas, right? Y'all are the niggas of the land. Because what happened was their descendants were taken as slaves from the east coast of Africa. They never made it to the west coast. They took them right from the east, right into India, right into that little region, and kept them as slaves all this time. So now you got brothers that are out there teaching them. They know that they're not Elam, that they're Israel, right? So think about it. The scripture said that Israel will be taken from Elam, right? How did they get there? Through slavery, right? Assyria, Syria, Egypt. Not every Israelite left Egypt.
I got one too.
What you got?
This is Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 3.
Go ahead. See? Firing shots. Nah.
Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 3.
Uh-huh. You got it.
And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them.
So it says we were scattered through the four corners of the earth. Read that part again.
And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them.
So we're going to be coming out of all countries. That's the future prophecy. So when Christ comes back and that harvest is going on and he's gathering our people from all over, they're going to be coming out from all countries looking, speaking a different language than we do. Keep reading.
And will bring them again to their folds.
And he's going to bring us right back. So we're not the ones that's going to do it ourselves. The only thing we can do is prepare and be ready for that day when he does come back. Go ahead.
And they shall be fruitful and increase.
And that's where we're going to be fruitful and increase. That's where we start building our kingdom. Yeah, that's I think that's it on that.
Let's see here.
Actually, no, read verse 4.
Verse 4. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them.
And that's us. That's us right now in the class, learning. You on YouTube, you're a brother, you're learning the scriptures to teach your people. You're going to be that shepherd. You're going to be that leader that's going to be able to guide them, feed them with the knowledge that they've been waiting for, looking for, that they're starving for. Keep reading.
And they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed.
So look, when you look at those people living in Israel right now, they fear. They have sirens all around their countries, letting them know when a bomb is about to drop. So they're living in fear. Keep reading.
Neither shall be lacking, saith the Lord.
So when you look at them, they're in their countries. They got those sirens. And anytime, what's that country, right, that they always fighting on the Gaza Strip? Oh, Palestine.
Yeah, Palestine.
Whenever Palestine is going to shoot a rocket over there, they got sirens all over Jerusalem, letting them know, let's go underground because the bombs are coming over. So it says that they're not going to fear anymore. So that's one scripture to show also that those people living over there are not the proper Jews. But we living in America, we fear daily. We fear daily because we don't have, everybody's out to get us. But not just in America. It says we're scattered everywhere. So it don't matter where we go. Just like you were saying about the brothers in India. They keep them at arm's reach. They keep their distance from them. But that's also because of the curses. So it's showing right here as well that the curses will be lifted from us. We won't have to worry about our own brothers. We won't have to worry about our enemies being at the bottom anymore. Fearing if we're going to be able to pay our house, pay our mortgage, find food. We won't be living in fear no more. But yeah, that's all I had on.
All right, so hopefully that was answered that question. Let's go to, let's see here. Thank you. I'm going to homeschool my son. Question. As a wife, our job is to take care of husband and home and teach the children as they grow. homeschool, and in parentheses, homeschool if you can. Correct? Come on. If it's in your power to homeschool, do it. Your kids ain't learning nothing in public, private school anyway. They're not learning. If they're not teaching them who they are, they're not teaching them to follow the laws of the Bible, what are they really learning? The sad part is, listen, they send kids to school and don't even teach them how to maneuver through this society.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you need? When you jump out of high school, what's the biggest thing you need in this country to make it? No, not college. No, not money.
Skill.
What's greater than money in this country? Credit. Where do they teach you how to get credit in school? Where do they teach you how to manage credit in school? They don't. Credit's a catch-22. Your credit's too young, so you can't get none. And when you get some, it's not good enough to get anything. It's a catch-22.
You know, it's crazy if I can say one thing on that. They have so many programs set up in school that what would have been really dope. Well, I'm not even gonna bring it like that, but they have so many different programs that set up in these schools, man. Especially when you're in high school, that those programs are useless when you do get out of high school. You have no use for it. And to think that we need credit and credit is so important, you would think that they would set up a credit program in high school where, as a freshman coming up, you got 4 years where you can build your credit. That way when you get out of high school, you're set. Well, not set, but you have a good foundation. You're able to actually maneuver.
Well, you know why they can't do that? Because they tell you to go to college, so that way your credit's automatically maxed to the limit, about $120,000 in debt. So then now you got to go work their job and stay in this perpetual cycle of work to pay my debt. So they ain't gonna teach you about credit, just to show you. But yeah, go to Titus real quick. Go to Titus chapter 2, and start at verse 1.
Titus chapter 2, verse 1.
Right. You got to remember, every household set up different. If your husband has it to where, yeah, you can stay home, teach the kids. I mean, we used to homeschool the kids here. A lot of the kids were homeschooled to a certain age. They didn't see public school until what? 8th grade, something like that. So they were like 12, 13. So if you can do it, do it. It's better for the kids. You can control what goes into their brain, right? But just along with the question, read Titus chapter 2 and verse 1.
Titus chapter 2 and verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine.
Right, so this is sound doctrine. This is what works. Go ahead.
That the aged men be sober.
Right, an aged man is supposed to be, there's supposed to be some sobriety about him in his mind and his consumption of alcohol. Supposed to be sober-minded. Go ahead.
Brave.
He's supposed to be serious. Go ahead.
Temperance.
Supposed to have temperance, not just out of control, going with his emotions. Read.
Sound in faith.
Supposed to be sound in the faith. Go ahead.
In charity.
Uh-huh.
In patience.
Uh-huh.
Verse 3. The aged woman likewise.
Right. She's supposed to be sober, temperate, sound in faith, charitable, and patient. Go ahead.
That they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Right. An aged woman, her behavior is supposed to be on point. Right? Go ahead.
Not false accusers.
Yeah, you ain't supposed to be falsely accusing other women of, oh, he looking at my man, she looking at my man, girl, or she did this, or she did that. You ain't supposed to be a false accuser. Go ahead.
Not given to much wine.
Yeah, you ain't supposed to be Olivia Pope in it with the biggest wine glass you can find, drinking wine and popcorn. That's all she ever did in that damn show is drink wine and eat popcorn. I mean, come on.
Yep.
And the wine glass was not small. Right? You ain't supposed to just be faded every 5 seconds. You got a question? Oh, no. Okay. Go ahead. Read on.
Teachers of good things.
Yeah, you're supposed to teach the good things. Where do these good things come from, you ask? From La Biblia. Go ahead.
That they may teach the young women to be sober.
They're supposed to do what?
Teach the young women to be sober.
Yeah, because you know what it's showing you here that the example you put out, I was dealing with this today. You know, there was an incident. I don't be on Facebook like that, but when I see my family on there being reckless, then I got to go in. When you're on Facebook putting all your business out there and disrespecting folks, and then you got your kids chiming in, you got your little 13-year-old daughter chiming in, I gotta be like, okay, you gotta chill. Where's your example at? See, it's showing you that if this aged woman is sober, patient, then what can she do? She can now teach it. But if you're a damn brute beast animal, cave woman, then what you gonna teach? What you gonna give off? You gonna give off your cave woman antics to the younger generation, right? So it's saying that she's supposed to be holy, but she's supposed to teach the younger women how to be sober. Go ahead.
To love their husband.
Right, because this aged woman loves her husband. Read on.
To love their children.
And she loves her children. So it's showing you she's supposed to be handing these things down. Read on.
To be discreet.
Right, you're supposed to have some damn discretion. You ain't supposed to be on Facebook letting it all out. All your problems, the beefs you got with people, all that. No, that's not the way you handle things. You got to be discreet. Handle things behind closed doors. Everything is not for everybody. Right? The scriptures say a fool uttereth his mind. A fool will give away everything that's in their mind. So the Bible is saying a woman is supposed to be discreet. Men too. You're supposed to have some discretion. Go ahead.
Keepers at home.
Were you supposed to what?
Keepers at home.
Girl, I'm about to hit happy hour Monday through Friday. I'm be in the club. I'm about to turn up. It's about to be lit. Liddy. Right? It says you're supposed to what?
Keepers at home.
Yeah, you're supposed to stay. And I'm not saying you're supposed to be a damn 24-hour at-home prisoner. Yeah. But what I'm saying is this. You're supposed to, your household is supposed to function at a level where you're accountable for everything that's going on. Yeah. You know, you ain't doing the thing where your kids are being raised by the TV, like 99% of the kids are. They're not being raised by the street. Oh, the streets was my daddy, right? The homeboys was my family, right? Because mom's is busy out popping on a pole and twerking somewhere, or jumping from man to man. It says she's supposed to be a keeper at home, so she knows how to build a home and then hand that down. Read on.
Good. Obedient to their own husbands.
Right. You got a lot of sisters. Oh my God. You got sisters that to disrespect their husband, they'll be obedient to everything else and not their own husband. You got sisters like that. Like, the way I'm going to challenge you today is I'm going to follow all their orders, but you, nope, I'm going to go against everything. You got to be first obedient to your own husband. And again, the way the household runs, your husband he'll dictate that. He'll dictate that. If like I said, if it's in your capacity to stay home and homeschool, I wish my kids could be homeschooled because it's better. You get to, again, control everything that you get to give them. You get to see it firsthand, what they're learning, their development, what they need. A lot of things they get in school, they don't need. Yeah, like you put on here, yeah, they don't need homosexuality. I mean, they definitely don't need that, but guess what? School tells them, pick your gender when you're ready. Pick your gender when it's comfortable for you. So in the meantime, you can just be whatever the hell you want. You could be the third gender, whatever that is. There's a third gender now, just so y'all know. They just opened up the bathroom for that.
Non-binary?
Yeah, they teaching kids about Islam. I didn't know that. Damn, that's a new one for me. So now they're pushing Islam on kids. They took the Bible out of the church to put the Quran in church, or in school, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, if you can homeschool, do it. I recommend it. I recommend it. You can control every book they read. Think about it. Think about this, man. The fake Jews, they do it. They control everything that goes into their kids' minds. They'll get a book, and they'll color out everything they don't want their kids to read or don't know about. They'll black it out. They control the curriculum firsthand. They send them to all Jewish schools, Jewish buses. Everything is catered around that Hasidic lifestyle of the kosher meals, however many times they pray with the yarmulkes on, whatever it is catered around their religious lifestyle. coming back to our nation and our true nationality, we should be able to do that also, if it's in our power. Again, it's just like the fringes. It's not in everybody's power to be able to homeschool. This society is so wicked, I keep saying it, you need like 8 incomes just to make it. With the price of everything is so inflated, if you don't have like a 5th income just to pay bills, it's hard, man. So, you know, whatever you can do within, you know, if it's in your power. Go ahead.
Obedient to their own husbands.
Go ahead.
That the word of God be not blasphemed.
Right, and this is how you prevent from blaspheming the word, making the word seem like it's not true. Is that it? All right, so hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, that's true. I'd rather homeschool my son where the Sabbath is the main focus. Yeah, listen, the Sabbath, not just the Sabbath. I mean, you got to remember, that's not just the Sabbath ain't just the end-all be-all to an Israelite. The Sabbath is just a part. I've been having this conversation lately with a lot of people. The Sabbath is just a part of it. The law is another part. The Sabbath is within the law. You know, the main focus should be the law and the keeping of it. And really understanding that it's not about doing things robotically. It's not about doing things out of fear. But it's really about doing things for the love. You gotta, you know what you gotta work on your, we gotta work on our kids with, and even ourselves is, and I'm just throwing this out there. Y'all we're gonna talk about this probably next class, but finding the joy in serving the Most High. That's what we gotta do. That's what we should be teaching our kids, that it shouldn't be out of fear. You shouldn't do things because you're scared that the Most High is gonna destroy your house like Job, or get you smashed up in a car accident, or give you some strange disease, right? You shouldn't do things because of that. You should do things because you see the joy in what it does for the next person. You see the joy in and the safety in what it keeps you from. That's why we should be doing things. So, I mean, just my suggestion, you definitely want to focus on the law, the keeping, the spirituality of the law, and the joy in building and seeing growth in one another. Y'all with me?
Come.
All right. What else we got? Yes, thank you, of course. Very true. Con. Yeah, if you got any other questions, we're going to go back into this class. If you got anything else, man, feel free. Or I have to start with us first. Recognize our true heritage and give up pork, catfish, other bottom feeders I've been eating. Yeah, that's where it starts, little by little. Little by little, you know, it's about baby steps. It's about baby, because think of it, you're not going to be able to ingest this whole book in 1 year. You're not going to be able to ingest the whole book in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. This is a lifestyle commitment and change. But it starts with here. You got to be able to be, you know, you got to know that the scriptures say it's not to the swift and to the speedy, but to him that endure until the end. So you got to be prepared for the long haul. And all the different trials, tribulations, tests that the Most High is going to put you through to attain what you want. All right? Let's jump back. Take it away, Smitty. That's not his name, by the way. It's
all right. Can I get Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3?
Right. So before we were doing questions, you were just recapping.
Yeah.
Right. This is a continuation, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We were recapping from the last class. When the class was over, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Mm-hmm. So does that make you invincible? Does that make you untouchable? Being an Israelite, right? But what I was trying to show pretty much was that what really makes you untouchable is the wisdom and knowledge of the Most High. Actually applying what you've learned. Actually applying the scriptures. Because you are going to get tempted, you are going to get tested. But the Most High gives you the knowledge of how to get out of it. And by applying that knowledge, that's the wisdom. But hit verse 3, Isaiah 26 and 3.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. thou wilt keep him in perfect peace.
So it says thou. That thou is the Most High. The Most High is the one that keeps you in perfect peace. Keep reading.
Whose mind is stayed on thee.
But you have to keep your mind stayed on him. Your mind can't be, your eye cannot be multiple. Your eye has to be single. Single. Focus on the Most High. And that's how you get that perfect peace. Keep reading. Because he trusted in thee. And when your mind is stayed perfectly on the Most High, it's not on anything else. That shows how you trust on the Most High, how you trust in him. You're not worried about anything else. So you just, all right, whatever happens, let me stay focused, keep moving, keep plowing, keep working. The Most High has me. And through all that, through all this chaos, I'm going to still be at perfect peace. Verse 4? Verse 4. Trust ye in the Lord forever. For in the Lord, Yahweh, is everlasting strength. Yeah, and the Most High is everlasting strength. Not you, not the system, not this American system, not your money, not anything. The Most High is our strength. So we'll trust in the Lord forever. Read that from the top, verse 4. Trust ye in the Lord forever. Yeah, we'll trust in the Lord forever. Because that's our strength. That's our only strength. Jump to Psalms 119 and verse 10. And that's how we keep our eyes single as well. By trusting in him. We don't put our faith in nothing else. Our faith is not in our job. Our faith is not in our income. It's not in any of that. Our faith is also not in man. Everything we do is for the Most High. But read that. Psalms 119 and verse 110.
Oh, verse 110.
Yes, sir. Psalms chapter 119 and verse 110.
Psalms chapter 119, verse 110.
Can someone hit the fans, please? Anybody?
All right, go ahead.
The wicked have laid a snare for me.
The wicked have laid a snare. All kinds of traps, man. Just think, we were just talking about credit, right? Just think about it. We don't even think about a simple snare that's laid for us right after we get out of high school. They don't teach us about credit, and credit is all over. Credit runs the world right now. It's spreading to even the third world countries. You gotta have credit.
Yeah, you gotta have credit on your phone. You've been have to have that, yeah. Right? But yeah, this crediting system. Listen, think about it. It don't matter how much money you come with. Yeah. If your credit's below a certain number, you don't get approved. You can put however the hell amount money you want down, right? If your credit ain't on par, you don't get your vehicle, you don't get your house, you don't get your business loan, you can't get it. My money's funny and my credit can't get it. So just like the brother is saying, yes, this is a snare that they use to what? To get you trapped into the mind of, now I gotta go work this debt off. But guess what? I'm only making enough money to make minimum payments, so all I'm really doing is paying the interest. I never put nothing towards the principal, so I'm gonna be hung with this debt for a lifetime. I'm gonna die and my kids gonna have to pay this debt. Yeah. You see that? That's a weapon. Their crediting system, the money, right? Yeah, go ahead.
You know what's crazy about the credit? What you were just saying. I remember when me and my rib, we were looking to get this townhouse. So we had to go through the owner to get the townhouse. And my credit sucked, her credit sucked. So they did not approve us to get the townhouse. Nope. But what's crazy is, we were like, hey, look, we'll come with double the deposit. We'll come with double the deposit just to get it. They were like, nah, we're coming with more money, but because your credit sucks, they're not giving it to you. Yeah. And it was crazy because I remember, man, I really wanted that spot. It was a dope spot, man. Yeah. Only like $700 a month, I think, too, in a good neighborhood. But it says, read it from the top again.
The wicked have laid a snare for me.
So yeah, they have plenty of snares laid. Plenty. The credit is just one example, but they have so many laid for us that we need the